What is up, y'all? So I've been wanting to make this video for a minute, but since I got off the trail, I've been very busy. So to catch everybody up, my name is kellyhays. If you're new to the channel, I was attempting a thru hike of the PCT this year, Pacific Crest Trail, and 2 weeks into my journey I got COVID, and I took 10 days off in Idlewild. We did another 60-mile section, and then I decided I need a little bit more rest. Went home for 3 weeks, came back, did another 100 miles or so, and just decided that my body was not 100%. But I wanted to make this video just explaining why I decided to leave the trail, and then what my plans are for the future as for hiking and for this channel. So leaving the trail was one of the toughest, I guess, decisions or realizations that I've ever had, just knowing that I wasn't strong enough to make it 2,650 miles. As far as getting COVID, I never really got that sick. It just kind of felt like a cold, but the after effects are really what got me. Just not having any energy, my muscles getting just painfully sore. I can't even explain how they feel after I do any sort of activity, and also just not really being able to breathe great, and all those things just aren't a very good recipe for hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, where a huge chunk of it is in elevation. And then we did get back on trail where we had left off, so that was around mile 206 by Falls Creek Road, just before I-10. So that's where we started back, and we had originally started our hike April 10th, but when we came back, it was already May 28th. So definitely later in the season, and in the desert in June is very unforgiving. It is very hot, and I'm not gonna blame the heat for the reason why I stepped off the trail. Even if conditions were perfect, I was still struggling to make miles and having the energy to get up and do that every day. However, the heat did just completely zap my energy faster than anything else, and it was terrible in the desert. I do realize that I came back at a really difficult time in a really difficult place. Southern California in June is not ideal by any means, but it is 100% doable. And if I was 100% healthy, I totally could have done it. Ideally, you'd want to wake up at 3:30 to 4, hike until about noon or 11, and then siesta or take a break till around 5 or 6, and then do a little night hiking and wake up and do it all over again. But even doing that while we were out there, I still wasn't able to make the miles during those time periods that I needed to in order to make it to Canada or make any sort of progress of getting out of the desert. Normally I can hike at like a 2.5 to 2.7 mile pace, and considering the terrain on the PCT, I could have easily hit 3 miles per hour. That's what we were hitting before we got sick, but that just wasn't the case. I wasn't hitting that. I had to take breaks like every 3 miles. Normally I would take breaks every 5 to 7 miles, and so it was just really hard to get into any sort of groove. Coming back to the trail after taking 3 weeks recovering from COVID was a lot tougher than I thought. I thought, just remembering back from last year when I had to take 3 weeks off because I had an emergency surgery. Yes, I have very bad luck on thru hikes, but that was really hard. Don't get me wrong. However, I thought it was going to be kind of the same situation, but it was not. I thought that I would at least bounce back to my baseline and then continue to get stronger from there. But I just never felt like I was getting stronger. I felt like I was getting weaker every day. It just never really got into that hiking groove. I was warned by my doctor, because I did get an x-ray of my chest. The x-ray did find 2 calcified nodules in my right lung, pretty significant in size, and some inflammation. So she told me, well, just postpone your hike till next year, but I wanted to go out and try and make sure. Throughout the time that I was out there, I tried to stay positive and optimistic every day. I would tell myself, you don't feel good, but I would tell myself that I did feel good. And a lot of mornings I would wake up and feel like I got run over by a bus. And, a lot of times that happens when I'm on a thru hike. I'm not a morning person, so mornings are really hard, but normally I can shake that crust off and then just get rolling. But by the end of the day, this time around, I felt like I got hit by a bus 10 more times and then would wake up and feel like the same thing. Never felt like I was getting stronger out there or I was getting more in shape. And I told myself I would give it 2 weeks to see how I would be feeling. And after that 2 weeks, I should be feeling stronger, better, more capable. Miles should be coming easier, but instead they were just coming harder. Some days I would feel great for like 2 hours and I would be like, okay, we're making progress. But then I would go a little bit longer and feel like I couldn't even hike the next mile. So it's honestly one of the worst feelings in the entire world when you're out there and you just don't feel like you're physically capable of moving. I've never really felt that before until this time. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't have anything to prove to anybody about doing hard things and pushing myself physically, because I have proved that to myself my entire life. I played D1 college basketball, and more specific to hiking, I thru hiked the AT last year, and I know how to push myself through pain, and I know how to embrace the suck. Heck, I lost a whole organ last year and took 3 weeks off and then trucked on 2,000 more miles. But this year was different. My body simply is just not strong enough to do this thru hike, and I've put myself through a whole lot last year, and then this was just like the final kick in the tail. And the thing is, I know my limits, I know my body well after doing what I did last year, and I know my limits and I hit them on this trail. And after that, I was like, why would I stay out here? I feel like trash, and I'm gonna go home and do something that I enjoy, and then I'm gonna come back and do this trail when I'm 100% and I can go out and crush this trail and do it the way that I want to do it. I'm not gonna trudge through 2,650 miles feeling weak and terrible like I did, because I'm out there to enjoy the trail and enjoy nature. So it just didn't make sense anymore. Thru hiking is hard enough as it is, and doing it when your body is not 100%, to me, it takes away the magic of it, because you're just suffering through it the whole time. And again, why would I do that when I could just come back next year and stronger? I kind of did that last year, and I pushed through that pain, and it wasn't all awful. I didn't eventually start feeling better, but I don't want to do a thru hike like that again. I want to be good. I want to be healthy. I don't want to have lingering issues. So anyway, I'm gonna take this next year off and do just a lot of rest and focus on nourishing my body with healthy foods that I wouldn't have been able to on the trail. I'll be doing a lot of day hikes, slowly easing myself back into exercise, and just doing all sorts of things to help myself become as strong as I can, so that I can come back next year and thru hike. So as far as future thru hiking plans, I don't have anything planned as of yet. I know I will be on a trail next year, and will probably be on a smaller trail this fall and hopefully this winter as well. I have some ideas in my head, but I don't really want to announce that yet until they are set in stone. I will still be hiking, guys. Like, this isn't the end of my hiking career by any means. It's just a short pause. As far as this channel, I will still be posting videos on this channel. I'm actually at the Grand Canyon right now. James and I flew back to Little Rock, and we're in Arkansas for a few days. We did a float trip, and we decided to go on a little cross-country road trip out west, because we did plan to be on the trail all summer, and so we are using some of our funds and time to get some travel in before we go back to work and figure out what we're gonna do next. So stay tuned for that. I'm really excited. We've been doing some really cool stuff. We went to the Petrified Forest yesterday. We're at the Grand Canyon today. I'm finally getting to do some van life stuff. I bought my van before I got on the Appalachian Trail, and I really haven't gotten to use it because I've just been through hiking. So I'm gonna be van lifing it up this summer and seeing a lot of cool things that have been on my bucket list for a while, so I'm really excited about that. But I'll just leave this video with one of my favorite quotes from one of my biggest role models in my entire life, and that would be Michael Jordan. I'll preface this quote by saying that by no means do I think that I failed the PCT this year. I made some amazing memories, got some great hiking in over the 350 miles that we did do. It taught me a lot about myself, as through hiking long distance trails continues to do, and just lots of valuable things that I can add to my tool belt about myself and life in general. So anyway, one of Michael Jordan's quotes that I love, he says, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." So even though this hike didn't turn into the outcome that I wanted to, I'm gonna use it to make me stronger, both physically and mentally. And over the next year, I'm gonna use this failure as motivation to make myself better, to come back stronger, and to just put in all the work that I need to reach my goals. It's been hard, yeah, I've hung my head a little bit, but this is making me stronger, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds, and I can't wait to crush another long distance trail. So I will be back. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next one.